Hello guys, in this particular video we will learn the chapter prerequisite of ADC2 and the topic is DC analysis of BJT. As far as DC analysis of BJT is concerned, that is the first step towards the design and analysis of any kind of amplifier, whether it is of single stage amplifier, whether it is of multi-stage amplifier, and whether it is of power amplifier, we can say. Okay. Now, whenever we will learn the DC analysis of BJT, before that, one question should stuck in your mind: why DC analysis before the design or analysis of BJT? Why DC analysis? DC term indicates that without having any AC input, I have to apply some particular DC voltage. So if I am applying particular DC voltage, what kind of internal operation that particular transistor will do such that my transistor will get particular point that is called as Q point, and my particular transistor will operate sustained oscillation, sustained signal, not oscillation, sustained signal at the amplifier output. Okay, so for that, very important thing is stability. Okay, very important thing. So DC analysis के पहले we will study the stability. Now to have this stability, we have two options. One is compensation and another is biasing. So we generally use biasing technique. Now what kind of stability we would require? Because there are so many parameters, as we have learned in thermal runaway, that if temperature increases, my ICO increases. So that much amount of IC should not increase to affect my diode, my BJT or transistor as an amplifier, as an operation. So I can say that I will arrange my circuitry such that it will operate in a stable mode. Okay, so biasing is one of the way to have the stable circuit to work the BJT as an amplifier. So biasing technique we will use. Okay, and these biasing techniques are of many types. So first biasing technique is called as fixed bias. Second biasing technique is called as fixed bias with emitter resistor. Fixed bias with emitter resistor. Now this is also called as emitter bias. Okay. C part is collector to base bias. D part is self bias, and the last is voltage divider bias. So there are 5 basic biasing techniques. First is fixed bias, second is fixed bias with emitter resistor, that is also called as an emitter bias. C is collector to base bias, D is self bias, and E is voltage divider bias. Now why do we require all 5 categories of biasing techniques? These all are related to the extent of the stability. So as we move from fixed bias to voltage divider bias, I will increase my stability. So voltage divider bias is more stable and fixed bias is least stable. So here I can say that this will be your least stable and this will be more stable. So let's learn one by one techniques of this biasing. Okay, so in this particular slide we have understood that For DC analysis, we require stability, and for stability, we do with this two ways. One is compensation, that we will not learn yet. Then second is biasing technique. That biasing is called as arrangement of the circuit to get the proper output. That arrangement may be in terms of the resistance arrangement and maybe in terms of the supply voltage given at particular terminal of the BJT. Okay, so this is how the types of biasing techniques. We will learn the complete DC analysis by taking different biasing techniques. Okay, so we will draw each and every configuration for each and every bias networks. So this is first circuit is for fixed bias, where we will give the DC supply positive VCC, resistance at base as RB, RC as collector resistance, and emitter is grounded. So this configuration is called as fixed bias, where we will get less stability. Now as we move ahead to form different biasing techniques, so as we move from fixed bias towards the voltage divider bias, we will improve the stability for the circuit, and that's what my aim for DC analysis is, to get this stable circuit. Okay, so next biasing technique is fixed bias with emitter resistance. You can also guess what kind of circuit will look like, same as fixed bias, but here I have applied emitter resistance to the ground potential, a zero potential, but here we will apply it to ground potential through one resistance, so that I will get the voltage drop across this resistance. Rest part is exactly same, so we will say this is plus VCC, this is capital RB, this is capital RC, this is RE, okay, and this is ground. This is base terminal, this is collector terminal, and this is emitter terminal, as arrow indicates that this is for NPN transistor. You can just flip this particular transistor, you will get the another type. Flip that particular arrow from emitter to base, you will be getting PNP transistor. Otherwise each and every functionality will be same. If we remove this particular transistor from NPN and we change it to PNP, the operation will be same, but just the direction of the flow of current and the responsible carrier will get changed. Here the responsible carrier is more or less electron. Here my responsible carrier is also electron, but if I use PNP transistor, then my responsible carrier for the current flow will be hole majoritarily. So this is called as emitter bias, or I can say that it will be fixed bias with emitter resistance. Obviously this is least stable, and emitter bias is more stable than that of your fixed bias. Okay, so I can say that stability increases. Okay, now in the C part, there is a slight change in the circuit of the feedback. So we will say here the resistance at the collector is not directly connected to the collector, but this current will get divided into two. One is at the base side and one is at the collector side. So from the base we will be getting the base current, and from the collector we will be getting the collector current, and here at the junction we will be dividing two current, that is one is IC and another is IB. This is your VCC and this is the resistance RE and then ground. This kind of circuitry I can change and I will name it as same as that of your collector to base bias, even if I replace this RE by short circuit, the name will remain same, right? More often, people do mistake while taking the current through RC as IC. No. See this circuit carefully. I have drawn IC as collector current, which is directly connected to the collector side. But through RC, whatever current I am getting, that is divided into two parts. One is IB and another is IC. So I can say that IB plus IC is nothing but the current flowing through RC. And as I know the theory of the BJT, IB plus IC is nothing but the emitter current. Yes, so this current I can say that it's nothing but the emitter current IE. So I can say that the current flowing through the RC and the current flowing through the RE is same as far as DC analysis is concerned. That means if I have not connected any AC input to base or any terminal of the BJT. Okay, so the name is, okay, now we will learn the more immune to the stability, the circuit which is more immune to stability. Obviously here as well stability increases. So the third and fourth circuit we will learn, that will be self bias. Here we will draw the self bias circuit where RC is directly connected to BJT, emitter is connected to the emitter resistance, okay, but the base is connected to the resistance and connected to the ground. Okay, this can be connected to the negative power supply, that is minus VEE. This is connected to the positive power supply, that is VCC. Okay, more or less in all the circuitry it is not mandatory to have emitter connected to the zero only. I can connect to negative supply such that total supply voltage may get increased towards the positive side. Okay, so here I have applied negative VEE and the RB is connected to the ground and the base. RC is connected from VCC to collector, and emitter and VEE is joined, emitter and minus VEE is joined by resistance RE. So this is how we will get the more stable circuit if I change the biasing circuit as that of self bias. Again I will get more stable circuit. Now the last circuit we will deal, that is very important, so we will mark star for this particular circuit. This particular circuit we will use more often in your multi-stage design, multi-stage analysis, your power amplifier and so on. Okay, so for many circuits we will use this voltage divider configuration of the biasing network. Okay, so this will look like RC connected to the collector, emitter is connected to the RE, right? Now base resistance is divided into two resistances, one is R1 and another is R2. Okay, this is connected to the emitter, not always true, rather it is been connected to the negative supply or ground. Note that every time this RE and R2 is not connected together. I can say that this R2 is connected to minus 2 volts, RE is connected to minus 5 volt, right? So it's not mandatory to connect this R2 and RE together and having same voltage. No. Similarly, R1 and RC not always connected together. Here I have showed it is connected together and applied to positive supply of VCC, but not always true. I can say that RC is connected to the positive VCC1 and R1 is connected to another positive supply voltage, positive VCC2. Okay, so you make sure that which resistance is connected to which value of external DC supply voltage. Okay, so these are nothing but the 5 configurations of DC biasing of BJTs. Last we have got is voltage divider bias. This is also called as potential divider bias. And this circuit will give you more stability. This circuit will give you, and this circuit will give you less stability. Okay, so all these configurations we have learned. Okay, one part is left, that is why do we call it this as potential divider or voltage divider. I can say that this input voltage, whatever input voltage I will apply, that particular base voltage is divided into two parts, or I can say this plus VCC. This plus VCC is divided into two parts. One is voltage across this R1 and voltage across this R2. So voltage of DC supply is divided into two resistances, that is R1 and another is at R2. So R1 and R2 values are responsible to get that particular voltage drop across R1 and R2, so that I can change my value of the amplified gain. So all the factors RC, RE, R1, R2 are responsible for the required parameter from the customer point of view, so that we can design RC, RE, R1, R2 in your design perspective. Okay, so this is how we have learned the DC biasing techniques. Now we will learn how to move ahead for the exact operation for the DC analysis. Okay, so for that we will consider only one part of this particular, one type of this particular biasing configurations. Okay, so let us try to get the DC this DC analysis of BJT. Let us see, we have considered voltage divider bias because I want more stable system. For voltage divider bias, we will draw a circuit. Let's say this is my circuit. And this is the question that they want particular values to find out the DC condition of my circuitry. Okay, so let's see, this is plus VCC I have applied, this is connected to ground for simplicity. Okay, this is nothing but VCE, right, and this is nothing but the current flowing through collector, that is IC. So basically in DC analysis of BJT we have to find out the Q parameter. So let us consider these are nothing but the characteristics of BJT. Here we will be getting different values of output current, that is IC. DC output current here I have shown because I have not yet connected the input for the circuit. Here even if I have shown here input voltage as AC and output voltage as AC, capacitors are connected. Okay, so we will learn in detail how that capacitor can get converted into open circuit. First of all, we will find out what will be your Q point. When we will draw this particular characteristics, here we will draw a DC load line where we will be getting first terminal is nothing but, this will be your maximum amount of current which we will be getting for the DC and maximum amount of voltage that we will be getting in DC. That means this load line is saying that this is your value of the region in which I can change the value of the current, AC current. Okay, and this is the region where I can change the value of the AC voltage. So if I want to decide particular reference point, so that particular reference point should be exactly in the middle of that particular current and voltage range. So only I will get positive side of AC signal as well as negative side of AC signal. So signal will not get clipped off. So I can say that we will say whatever the characteristics of BJT will be getting and load line will be getting, the intersection point is nothing but your Q point, and that Q point is also called as operating point. That Q point is called as operating point, and that is very important for an amplification nature of your amplifier. So if this is exactly in the middle, I can say that this will swing in this particular region and I will get the amplified format for current as well as voltage. So here I can say that can amplify in this way. Okay, so here we will be getting the current amplification as well as voltage amplification, current amplification as well as voltage amplification without any clipping of the AC signal, right? So this Q point finding is a very important task, and that is done by DC analysis. So that is the important reason why we are going towards the DC analysis when we are dealing with the amplifier as using BJT. Okay, so Q point is basically the IC and VCE. Okay, so IC and VCE. So VCE on X axis and IC on Y axis. So when we will deal with Q point, so Q point is nothing but the intersecting point to the characteristics of the BJT and particular DC load line. That DC load line gets intersect with particular characteristics of the BJT, and that is nothing but your Q point. So we'll say that this intersecting point first will be X axis. So Q, we will draw it over, we will write it over here as VCE Q. So Q point voltage as VCEQ and Q point current as ICQ. That we have learned in EDC as well, right? So let's move ahead how to deal with the particular circuitry for DC analysis. Okay, so let's give the name for this resistances. This is RC, this is RE, this is R2, and this is R1. Okay, first step for your DC analysis, step number 1 is open all coupling capacitor. Question arises why? As I said earlier, even if I have drawn VI and VO over here, for DC analysis we don't have to consider that coupling capacitor. We'll name it as CC1 and CC2. So we'll have to open this CC1 and CC2 while we are dealing with the DC analysis for the circuitry. Open all coupling capacitors. Question arises why? For DC we'll be having frequency is equal to 0. When we'll deal with the frequency is equal to 0, I know that for coupling capacitor, for any capacitor, capacitive reactance is equal to 1 upon 2 pi Fc. If F is equal to 0, so for F is equal to 0, we'll be getting Xc is equal to infinity, and that is nothing but your open circuit. And that's why we have to deal with the open all coupling capacitors. Okay, so as DC is equal as in DC, F is equal to 0, that is frequency is equal to 0, Xc is equal to 1 upon 2 pi Fc. As F is equal to 0, your Xc will go into infinite value. That means ideally it will be open circuited. So that's why we have to remove that particular capacitances, so we don't have to deal with the input and output. So the transistor DC configuration circuit has nothing to do with AC input and AC output voltage, right? So my output voltage will be in terms of VCE, right? So my findings are two. One is IC and another is VCE. Okay, so now in this particular case, for step number 2, we'll have to go for input KVL. Okay, for input KVL, step number 2 will be input KVL. Now for this, especially for this kind of voltage divider bias, we have to deal with the some changes in my circuitry. How we will deal with the changes in my circuitry? So let us say step number 2, this is of input KVL. Let us draw again that particular circuitry. This is my DC circuit where I have removed all the capacitances. I have applied positive VCC. Okay. So if you look at this particular circuitry, my circuit is somewhat complex. I cannot determine what will be the value of the voltage across the base, and I cannot uh, write the input KVL equation. So basically I want to simplify it. How can I simplify? So basically this division of the resistances into two parts, that is R1 and R2, will make this circuit more complex than that of earlier circuit as a fixed bias or collector to base bias, right? So I will say that we all have learned in BEE Thevenin's theorem, right? Any complex circuit can be converted into simple circuit, that is nothing but one Thevenin's voltage and Thevenin's resistance. Okay, so whatever we have learned in BEE, in that we have learned Thevenin's theorem. Now in Thevenin's theorem, any complex circuit can be converted into a simple circuit which comprises of two resistances are in series. One of the resistance is load resistance and another resistance is Thevenin's resistance, right? And one voltage in series with these two series resistances, that voltage source is called as Thevenin's voltage. So we will try to make out this particular Thevenin's theorem in this particular circuit, such that I will use that particular theorem in this particular circuit, such that I will use this particular complex circuit and will convert this into simple circuit, such that we will move towards this step number 2 for input KVL. Okay, so let's say that I want to use the Thevenin's theorem. So we say that using Thevenin's theorem. Using Thevenin's theorems, first of all, we'll have to calculate what is the value of VTH. Okay, so for VTH, we all know that open the load. Okay, for us, this is nothing but our load. Okay, so we will remove this particular circuitry which is at the right hand side of this dotted line. Okay, right hand side of this dotted line I will remove, and rest all the circuitry, that is nothing but the combination of the resistance R1 and R2, and in between I will be getting the load. Okay, so we will draw this circuitry. This is nothing but this kind of circuitry we will be getting. This is your resistance connected to the ground, which is R2, resistance R1 connected to plus VCC, R2 is connected to ground, and here we want the voltage across the load, that is nothing but voltage across the load, that is nothing but your VTH. I can easily say that using VDR. Okay, so we will use VDR, that is voltage divider rule. Using voltage divider rule, I will be getting VTH is equal to R2 divided by R1 plus R2 multiplied by VCC. R2 in the numerator, summation of these two resistances are in series, that is nothing but R1 plus R2 multiplied by the total voltage, that is VCC. Okay, now the next is I want to find out the RTH. So now I want to find out the RTH. How to find out the RTH? I will open the load and convert all the DC sources into their respective internal resistances. Okay, so open the load and convert all DC sources. As I know that ki voltage source इसका internal resistance is nothing but 0, that is nothing but the short circuit. So can I say that this VCC is directly connected to ground? Yes, obviously. So we can say that this VCC becomes 0 volts, that is nothing but the short circuit, right? So my circuit will look like a very simple circuit. This is nothing but the resistance. Here we have to calculate the value of the RTH. This VCC is short circuited and connected to ground, right? So obviously if I look into the R2, so I will be getting RTH as R1 parallel R2. So now my circuit is over. Calculation of VTH RTH is over, so I can form the another circuit which is simplified version of this particular circuit. I will draw this circuit over here. So this will look like, this circuit will be Thevenin's equivalent circuit. I will draw a Thevenin's voltage, that is VTH, will come from here. This is your RTH, that will come from here. This is RTH. Now this is a simplified version of this. I'll just attach the load. So load was this. So I just have attached the load. So plus VCC, RC, then connected to collector, base is connected to RTH and VTH in series, RE is connected to the emitter, and ultimately this is connected to ground potential. Now here we will start your input KVL. Okay, so how to draw the input KVL? My modified Thevenin's equivalent circuit will look like, this will be my RC, this will be my resistance RE, this will be my resistance RB or RTH, I can say, this will be your VTH. Okay, here we have to apply the input KVL. Okay, so if I apply input KVL, the input KVL will become, it will become VTH minus RTH into IB. As we are dealing with the DC analysis, we have to draw, we have to write it in a capital manner. Okay, minus, this is nothing but the VBE. Always and always keep this in mind that whenever we have used the amplifier, we have to use the BJT in active region. So if I am using this BJT as an active region, so base emitter junction always and always in forward bias condition. So forward bias condition mein BE potential is always and always equal to the diode potential, that is nothing but 0.7 for silicon and 0.3 for germanium. So we'll just write it as VBE. Now we have entered into the emitter region, so we will say that this voltage drop across RE is nothing but emitter current multiplied by the emitter resistance, and it is equal to 0. I will use that, use IE is equal to 1 plus beta times of IB. IE is equal to 1 plus beta times of IB. If we simplify this particular equation by putting this equation number 2 in equation number 1, so we will say using equation 1 and 2, we will be getting IB is equal to VTH minus VBE divided by RTH plus 1 plus beta into RE. This will be my first finding for your DC analysis. So this is your equation number 1, right? As I know that what is the relation between the base current and the collector current. Okay, so for these particular operations, for this particular biasing, whatever IB I will be getting, that is called as IBQ. Okay, now I know that what is the relation between the collector current and base current. I know that IC is equal to beta times of IB. Hence, I can say that at the Q point as well, this relation will get sustained. So, ICQ is equal to beta times of IBQ, and this is nothing but your second equation where I will be getting the first parameter of the Q point. Okay, so this is your Roman second equation. Now let's move towards the second finding of Q point as far as DC analysis is concerned. So second finding is nothing but this VCE, such that I can plot the particular point, I can find the particular point on the characteristics of your BJT. Okay, so to work as an amplifier, I have to have Q point. Okay, so the second parameter of Q point I will find by applying output KVL. So that will be your second step number. Okay, I'm sorry, that will be your third step number. Second step number was input KVL. So step number 3 is of output KVL. Okay, so here my circuit is, now we don't have to deal with the input, already we have find what is the value of IC, what is the value of IB. Okay, all the values of RTH and VTH we got, and now we are tending towards the last part of the DC analysis, that is nothing but the finding the value of VCE. We'll direct go for the output KVL. Okay, so output KVL will give me the value of VCE. Now if you see at this particular path, this particular path is giving me the loop, which is nothing but this particular loop. Okay, so this particular loop is of output, this is nothing but VCC, this is nothing but RC, this is nothing but RE. Okay, so I can write that particular equation for output KVL. We will say that VCC minus IC RC minus VCE minus IE RE is equal to 0. So from here I can easily get the value of VCE because all the parameters are known to us. Once I get IC and IB, IE find out करना कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. So IE is nothing but IC plus IB, right? So we will say that VCEQ is nothing but VCC minus ICRC minus IE into RE. This is exact calculation. So this is your third equation. If we want to make it approximations, so we will say that if beta is much more, I can say that IC is nearly equal to IE. Now in this case we will modify our equation as VCEQ is equal to VCC minus IC into RC plus RE, and this is your third equation as far as approximations are concerned. Right? So if we want to go for exact analysis, then this will be your third equation. Okay, so this is how we have to deal with the DC analysis. Once we get the exact value of VCEQ and ICQ, I can say that my Q point is nothing but VCEQ comma ICQ. This is how we get the Q point, and then I can also draw that particular Q point on my characteristics. Suppose this is the Q point here we are getting, so we'll write that particular value of Q point. So Q point will become VCEQ comma ICQ. So this is how we have to deal with the DC analysis of BJT. This is the first and very important step to move ahead the analysis towards the AC for BJT as an amplifier. So thank you for watching this particular video, and subscribe the eKIDA videos more and more. So thank you.